I'm Monica and Sandeep. Good morning. And today we will be waiting for a couple of minutes for others to join, and then we will start.
Okay, so yeah.
Start with our examples. And if you remember, we have done with the cookies that day, and now this is the class I copied. And today we'll be going with the called the listeners session listeners. We have already seen the attribute listeners before. Now we are going to see the listeners corresponding to your session. So in a session, suppose in a session you want to bind your, we had this particular called dog. I think we have done this example. Was it a listener example? Okay, we had written a getter setter method called dog. Now what happens if someone wants to bind this particular getter and setter, the dog, then we need to write, means suppose this, then we need to write a class called implements called http, getting any class, session binding listener. This particular abstract class, what it does actually, suppose the listener, this listener is just, this is listener is what I will say. I'm not getting the language. So its listener is something that you can find out when you are putting the uh, objects into a session, and also you are taking out. See, whenever you are doing, that means for this particular has to implement, I need to implement the methods here. It has two methods, okay, called value bound and this value unbound. Now this is a doc class. I need to bound this doc class to a particular session. So you can write your code. Suppose uh, what I will say, this particular session, this is listening, this particular listener is listening to the dog class, and it's putting this class dog in a particular session. So suppose here what you can do, Here you write your code, I will say code to run and bound that you are in session. And here you can write your code to run that you know that you are no longer in the session. So this code, whenever you want to bound something, this word you have already called bound. Bound means uh, here you remember this method here bound means, if I write again here, bound means uh, someone or some object is added to this attribute in a session. Now the different is unbound means you are unadding or you are just not adding means you are removing these particular attributes from a session. So in your class you can write this whenever you are doing something called HTTP listener bound binding listener, then you can do this to set this particular in your bound or in a value unbound. You can bound this particular dog in this way. Now this is a listener to binding your class in a particular session, binding your getter setter in a session. But if you remember, we had written a session, okay, that what it does, uh, what I will tell, like this listener session, and we had made something in our called web.xml that we have already given. Here if you'll check, the listener class already we have given. So you can also suppose you want to count the number of sessions, the number of active sessions, or you need to count that the active sessions like uh, means how many you are destroying the session. So you can write a listener class. Suppose I am writing a listener class known as, suppose I'm writing a beer session counter because I was writing with the beers. Suppose I am doing it here. And here I want to implement, I'm implementing with the implements HTTP session listener. Now I need to see this is the session created. Suppose I want to write the number of active sessions. So let me create something static, private, int, active sessions. This I have written a private int. If you remember when I'm doing a private, I'm doing a getter setter here. So see, I'm going to the source and I'm generating a getter setter. Let's see, generate getter setter. For time being, I want to get this particular session. This particular session. I do not, I only need the active sessions that are doing. So what I will do, this active sessions, I'm writing here active sessions, a number of sessions. Whenever the session is created, this is going to come here and I'm going to do a plus plus here. And whenever my session is destroyed, I am doing minus minus here. Now what happens, this particular class, remember, this class will be deployed in webinf in the same way that we have written here the listener class. This will be means this class will be deployed here in the webinf that web.xml, and so that all other classes are means all other classes can access this method easily. So the first thing what we can do is just we can give it here called com.example call dot, I'm giving it here be a listener. Here's session, sorry, session counter, the class name that I've given here, see the class name, and I'm defining it inside this listener class. So what happens here? So what happens here? This particular called this web app. So first of all, this listener is started. So whenever you create a session, this will automatically give you, or from any of the servlets you can get this particular active sessions here, like in get active sessions at any point of your time. And see, first I've given a listener because it would start with a listener class. Now I'm doing as a run as. See, I'm doing this, I'm getting an error. Let me check where I'm getting an error. Null pointer exception in listener java dot listener tester. Okay, okay. I think I haven't done anything called servlet context here. This was my class that I was doing as a servlet context because of this listener called, I remember this my servlet context, and I was setting all the things here and I'm trying to get, so I'm getting a null pointer exception here. So I need to change this class or change anything like anything. Suppose I'm not doing anything, I'm just doing, and then I'm restarting the server again. I should have got this particular thing called um, active listeners class. Like suppose I'm doing a sysout. First let me do a sysout here and check if, okay, where is my that particular listener tester? Whenever I'm creating, let me create this. Where it is, BSS encounter. If I do this, now it is asking me to send a BSS and something. So I'm sending new. This is the source. Wait, just give me a moment. This is a source. Suppose I am passing it as a null here. Let me check what happens. Let me check what happens if I am able to. I'm getting a null source. Okay. Um, See, now what happens here in your listener test? If I go to that particular called peer section counter, remember this has been done as static. So this already has been, whenever I'm giving a listener class, this is the first class that is being generated. So this has already hold memory. To persist this, to persist the value, we have already written a static. Suppose if I'm doing a beer counter in the next with a new object, if I hadn't written the static, and this particular, this would have means if I had done session, whenever I'm doing in the next servlet and creating a new your session, this particular called active session will start from your default value, that is your 0. The default value is your 0 here. So if I had done something every time called plus plus, I mean it was not static in the listener class. First of all, we have given the listener class, we have just implemented or just assigned the memory to the active session. Okay, already this active session has been assigned in your called static, the static variable, and this has these values will persist every time we increase it, and these values will persist. Otherwise, if we would have not given a static, then this active session would have start from 0 every time we create an object from beer session counter. But from this is one of the servlet that I'm creating here. From one of the servlet, this, so again, if you are creating a next servlet and if you are creating a new session, you can count in this way. You have number of active sessions that are already working, and also when you are destroying the sessions, please use this particular called session destroy whenever you are coming out of your uh, session. Yeah, do you have any question till now? Anusa, Tejshwani, Monica?
No, sir.
Okay,
No, sir.
so okay, now let's this is our servlet is already finished with this. So we need to go to the means only the attribute and listeners, your request and response we have seen, and we have seen Means we haven't explained anything, but we have seen some of the HTML methods. Now let me go to the JSPs. So remember, uh, JSP. What does it stand? Anybody can tell me what does JSP means? Anybody? Do you
Is
know the
it
full form?
Java
Yeah, tell.
servlet?
Java servlet, um, or JavaScript. Which one?
Mm, yeah, maybe JavaScript.
It is Java server pages.
Okay.
It is not. Yeah, it is Java server pages. Okay,
Okay.
you can say the Java server pages is a server side, means server side. You have already seen in our client and server. That client is your browser. Whenever I'm clicking at something, then it is coming to your server, and you have the JSPs, you have the servlet, and everything. So JSP, the Java server page, is a server side technology. Means it is in the server side, and you can say this is an extension to the Java servlet. Okay, that was means this is an extension. Means whenever you are using your um, this is the first thing, means first JSP pages at the server side. Okay, they have created the, whenever they have created the Java servlet, means I think the Sun Technologies, when they have created this Java servlets, they think that we need to give it a web page. So they developed also JSPs. Now JSPs are used in with many integrations, like it can be used with your .NET, it can be used with your PHP, anything. Means you can use your, it is not defined under this particular called only servlets. But uh, your landing page will always have, means your JSP. And remember, the main funda of the GSP pages means are the HTMLs. There are lots of tags in HTMLs. Lots and lots of tags are in there in the HTML. So first you need to you need to know what is an HTML and the some of the basic concepts of the HTML. Or anybody knows HTML a bit also? The class, Anusa, Monica, Tejashwani. Anything about
Um,
the HTML?
only few
Yeah.
tags.
Okay. Okay.
Few tags.
So yeah, remember HTML or the CSS or any other things that you are learning, the more you study, more you practice, the more tags you will come up with. But the logic that I will be given, how the JSPs and everything will work, means how the JSPs, how to call the JSP. We have already seen that from a JSP, how we are doing using a form listener, or means we are calling the URL pattern, everything how we are doing from the JSP. And also we have seen a request dispatcher, like if you remember, I think we have done the request dispatcher here. See the request dispatcher from the servlet, how I'm calling a particular JSP, and from JSP how you are calling a particular servlet. This already we have seen. Now let's go with the basic tags of HTML. HTML, you know, this HTML always stands for hypertext markup language. If I'm talk about HTML, it's called hypertext markup language. And you can say that HTML describes the structure of web pages using markup. Markup, you can say the tags or something. So HTML also, you have the elements in your HTML pages. When you create a web page, it you can tell that it is an HTML page, and you have so many elements, you have so many tags inside it, and you can give as a heading, paragraph, table. You can create so many elements like tables you are creating, or you are creating heading or paragraphs, anything. So if I do something here called, suppose I'm writing an HTML page, something called HTML file here, something I'm writing example, so suppose example, and I'm finishing it here. You can check already you have this. You have this title here. You can give the page title, means why this is kind of giving a description to your HTML page title or description. Then you have something called the HTML. It starts with your head. Here you can say this is my which type of character set it is. This is ISO, means by default it is 88591. You can give a title as page title. Now inside the body you can have this h1. See, when I'm doing 8, you can have so many headers, means h1 is the top header, h2 is the second header. This you can do particularly here. Suppose now I'm clicking h1 and I'm writing my first heading, and you check if I had done h2, my second heading. Suppose example.html. Let me go to this and let me give this example.html is my landing page. See, you can check the difference between when I've given that my first header, then h2, now h3 will be a bit smaller. So if you have used your Microsoft Word, you have something similar to this. You can use your first heading, then second heading, then third. Now you have h6. You have already seen you have something called till your h6. You have this. See, till h6 you have already this. Now already we have seen h1 and h2. Now if you remember, we were using called a tag called p, a small p, suppose p. This means, this p means my first paragraph. Suppose I have given this is my first paragraph. So whenever I am doing something called here, if I am just sorry, I shouldn't have done. I think I was doing it. See, this has come my first paragraph. So you know this is simple English language. What is a paragraph? You can give using this particular P. Uh, now suppose you have already seen this is the tag name, and then you have this particular called in tags already you have. Now already we have seen this. Now you can check, you have this doc type is equal to HTML. This doc type is your declaration that represents the document type. means this document type is my HTML type, so I have given is doc type as HTML. Now the thing is, if you can see, this is the till now we have already done this called paragraph h1 h2 and this. Now suppose if I had given the uh, another paragraph, suppose if I give another paragraph, this is my, suppose I can give another paragraph. Here we do not have something h1 h2 or something. Here we can give another paragraph, and then we can just check what happens here. See, it is just coming another paragraph. So, and also suppose we have also seen here, this is how to give a hyperlink. Hyperlink is just give a href and do it here. If I had done something here, okay, here I have given a servlet name. You can do a google.com also, www.google.com or facebook.com, and then it would have taken you to that particular hyperlink. Here I've given, now it goes to the servlet, the check.do, here check cookie.do, the servlet, but I'm not doing anything here, so it's not printing me because I should have done with the check result in the JSP. I would have started with the pure HTML and then do it. See, it is taking me to this particular servlet. So giving an, here, just remember, giving a hyperlink, it should be ahref, this. So this will give you an hyperlink. Suppose an image. Okay, let me find an image. Let me delete this all. Suppose I want to incorporate an image. So to do an image, you need to do in this way: img image src src. After that, you need to give your path. This your path. You can give your absolute path. You can give anything, and also suppose I'm doing it from the W3 schools that I'm teaching you from now, schools.com, and I'm giving the width and also the height 152. Suppose if I had given a height. So what happens here? Whenever you are giving this particular called, oh, this is the image that I'm taking. Suppose I think, do I have an image here? Anything? I have, but this is a personal pic, and suppose this. Yes, I have this. Suppose I'm clicking it here. I can give the direct from the path here also. Like I can give it properties, and I could have given the path from this C users and this, but it's better for me to copy it. Let's check. Copy it and paste it here itself in the web content. Now let me check if I can give untitled dot jpg. No, I need to start it again. I'm not getting it. Okay, it is not getting the image actually, because I think just not getting the image. I need to give the whole path, I think. Here, properties. I or this path. Let me check if I give this path, what happens. Oh, it is not getting this path. Do you have anything called resources, JavaScript resources? Web content I have. I have already. Here it is in JavaScript. And if I had given, suppose I need to give the path actually here. I'm not able to give it to here because let me check if I had given this path, the absolute path, if it is going to work. See, the image is coming. The absolute path, if I'm going to give, the image is coming now. Means I need to give the path of this particular in this called src, and I need to give the path, and your image will come. This particular image will come. And this is an href already we have shown. And now we have seen already this. Okay. And remember, these tags are not case sensitive. You can give h1 or but it's better if you give the h1 at the caps, then you must end it with the h1 at the small. This is an coding standard. Though these are not case sensitive, but you can give in this way. If you start with a caps h1, you need to end with your, what I will say, the small h1. Now we had seen already the image and all. Okay, now suppose if I'm giving a style attribute, now the paragraph, you can check. Now go to the style attribute. I'm giving color red here, and then I'm giving I am a paragraph. Let's check if something is happening here. If I have given it a correct way. See, this is coming color red. This is coming in red color. So this is the way you can give your style attributes. And suppose we can give a title also in here, like if I had given something called p, and I'm writing a title. Title means I am a tool tip. If I'm writing it here and then I'm giving this, let's check what happens. See, you can check. If I'm hovering over this, it is showing me. If I'm giving this, hovering, it is giving me a title. I am a tooltip. So this is the title case. Now, if we go to the next called your um, beer, you can say the beer or anything, like if I had given something called beer here, somewhere called beer in between of this. Now let's check what happens. See, it is breaking the line. Beer means it is just breaking the line from here, and this is your particular called beer. Now you can check if I had to write a checkbox here. So how the checkbox are being written? You write a select. This is a select. We have already seen this is this is a drop down. If I had written something called here after called select and I give a beer here, so now if I give a select here, now if I go this particular code again, where it has gone, did I close it? See, this is coming my drop down box. If I do it something with the called select and then you give your options, the number of options that you have given already is there. Now suppose if I want to give my background color, the background color, your background, everything start with your body, and we have seen already this style. And let me write this background color, and suppose if I give powder blue, let's check if it is or red or something. See, the background color is coming. If I want to give a background color, text color, already we have seen how to give the text color. And also suppose if you want to change your this particular default your font, suppose if I give it again a style, remember, equal to font family, over then if I give this, now you check, see, this is changing. So this is way I can give the font color. And we can also align here something called style, something you can have to align, or you can do it in this way, text line. Then if I'm doing it as center, let's check this. See, this is coming my align. So this is looking my first header. This is looking a bit good than what we have done. And it's, you can also have italic, you can also have important text. You go through this how to give a italic or something, a text. You can also suppose this is coming, I can also give a bold. I can do a bold by doing a b, simple b. If I'm given it here b here, So this means it is going to give me a bold. See, this is be changing to the bold. And also, suppose italic is something simple. I. And these are simple. So you need to go through your codes. Just wait a minute. Just give me 2 minutes. I have someone at my home. Yeah. And what we were doing, italic, I think this is already an italic. This is already an italic. Now, if I given mark here, suppose if I had given mark, okay, and I'm removing this peer here, and instead I'm doing it as a mark. Let's check what happens. Simple. It is going to mark this with a yellow color. So, so these are the basic steps with the HTML. And more we go in the HTML pages, okay, and we will see in your means. It is my request to go. There are lots and lots of tags in the HTML, so this doesn't come under your Java or the JSP. More we go with the JSP and more you do your programs with the HTML, you will get to know a different tags. And remember, the HTML is the easiest scripting language or easiest one, this markup language that you can learn. So let's go to our JSP. Whenever we have written a JSP page, you can see this is the way that is coming. The content type is HTML, this, and then your HTML body starts. So JSP is nothing. You need to write your JSP, CSS all inside this your JSP and your web page. Yes, and your web page. You design your web page using this particular called JSP. Now you can say, suppose if you remember something called whenever we were doing MVC, if we hadn't used a controller, means the servlet as a controller, the JSP was acting both as a view and your controller. In that page, whenever you write your JSP, okay, this particular called cookie result.jsp, whenever I have written this, a particular Java class like a servlet, okay, it's going to be created inside your means this web deployment or inside your classes. Means whenever I compile this JSP, the JVM, what it does, it converts this JSP page, this particular JSP page into your these classes, means your JSP classes. Sorry, if I had the target folder, I could have shown him this particular called this JSP page. Remember, in the backend, it is converted to your servlet this automatically by the JVM, and almost the similar code is written. Like if you are writing a counter there, something in your backend, a counter class is being generated. in the form. Suppose I'm going to write a new, suppose I'm going to write a new project again. New project again. Suppose I'm writing this, and I am writing a package here, and I am writing a JSP, suppose a class called counter. Sorry, I written enum instead of a class. Okay, now I've created a class. I need to just a simple class like private, static, int, count, just a simple class, and public, static, synchronized, int, get count, count plus plus, and I'm going to return this count, return count. Suppose I'm creating a JSP page here. Now I need to write a web.xml. I'm copying this web.xml from here to here. And also the library what I had copied here, because I'm going to use that as a servlet also. And I'm going to go to this particular called JSP page here. I'm going to remove all this as of now. I'm going to have only my JSP page as a welcome page. And let's see. Okay, let me create a, in web content, maybe something called a JSP page or JSP file. Now I'm writing the JSP file as basic counter. This is a simple JSP file. See, this is being generated. Now we can check the JSP file is being created in this way. So in my body, where it is there, I'm removing the head. I do not need this particular head as of now. Okay, this particular header I do not need. Inside my body, I'm writing this, a scriptlet. Remember, this is called a scriptlet. There, here I can read, whenever I can read this, I will teach you. I will read a Java program. I can write a Java program here inside my scriptlet, means Java's keywords. Okay, and suppose if I'm going to do it as a counter dot get count, I'm calling to that particular class. Now if I check, what will happen? Anybody? See, it is going to give me that to create a counter, already to create a counter variable. So I need to import this particular called counter. I need to import the JSP, import this particular class called counter. So how to do that? First, I need to import. In your import, it should be in this way. Here it is. I'm giving it as, see, you have this page already coded, already written here. I can also give here import equal to some called, I had some called com dot example dot counter. If I had given this, let's check what happens. If I had given this, see, now it is giving me that to counter is undefined type. Already we have this counter. We have this particular called counter. Yeah.
It's a spelling mistake. It is.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where I am, basic counter. I think still it will give me an error. No, it is not giving me an error. So let me start this now. Let me stop all this first. Okay. Let me remove previous what we had. Remove this. Remove. Now, see, I'm not using a servlet as of now. Till now, I have not used a servlet in your JSP. Just this is an first example that I want to do. What it is saying, this example message example JSP is not found. Why this is not found? Oh, sorry. Basic counter.jsp. What is happening here?
Is it basic counter.jsp? We have given basic counter.html.
Is yes, correct. But still, I mean, it shouldn't have given me this. It is giving me an error that it is trying to find your this file.
Example
Again,
JSP.
yeah, example JSP. It should have given me that basic counter.html. It
Yeah.
cannot find it. It should have given me. Again, I need to check that I need to create something. Okay, now it is coming.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it coming right? That one. If I have
Yes.
given it here, see, now if I want to call, see, I'm not doing a servlet here. From a JSP, remember this is not ever, I'm trying to explain you. If you remember the model one, you do not have a servlet there, but that is a very bad coding. So what do? You just import it, and this is a scriptlet. Remember, I will explain this particular. In scriptlet, you can write your Java code here. You can write just like a Java code. So this was your first JSP page. You can do anything. If you want to import a class, or remember, if you want to import a jar, if you want to import a jar, okay, just import in the similar way that you import inside your this, and you can use this in your particular called scriptlet. So this is the my first JSP page, and here you can give your scriptlet, you can give anything. And this, and remember, whenever you are writing this JSP, this particular, if it is written here, your JSP class, this particular JSP class inside this is transforming. Remember, I'm writing the program. This particular, remember, whenever this particular is there, your compiler is converting this. If you remember, your compiler is converting this into a JSP page. Remember the JSP, sorry, in a servlet page. Suppose the servlet page was servlet void underscore JSP, okay, service, and this particular, I'm showing this particular how this is being converted inside. If you remember this, then suppose I'm writing it here, it will be easier for me to write it here. I do not need to write many of this particular called new servlet. If I'm doing called basic counter slash JSP, maybe you have a called something called here, you have some JSP servlet. Suppose it was a do get, you could have written something here called your print writer out dot response dot get writer. And suppose this JSP page, what we had here, this is the content type is text.html, so I need to write the content type, set content type text slash html. Now what I've given out dot write, here we have the html. This is being converted in this way, body. See, we have this particular called html and body. Then you have this, you can call this particular function called counter here, counter this particular class you are calling, this particular class. I'm not writing the full JSP page. Now counter, hope you have understood. Now this particular counter is being called from this, okay, from here, this particular class called counter count equal to new counter, or I think I was calling the particular class that was, this was a static, so I was calling it directly from the JSP page. So let me call it directly itself. Here it is calling. This particular class, it is calling me. Uh, Before that, I had written something in the JSP page. No, I haven't written anything. This is the JSP page. So it is going to call me this particular called counter, and this particular, it's going to print this out dot write. Maybe here it is. I'm printing it. I'm printing it, then I'm finishing this tags. So this is being in your, if you check in your body and then HTML. So this type of program will be written this for this particular JSP. Automatically, this is being written inside this. Your if you, this is being converted. Whenever a JSP, remember this is being always been converted to your particular called in your JSP pages. This particular JSP pages will be getting converted, and let me check if I have something to show you. If I get the target classes. No, I have only this. I do not have the target classes. This target. So remember in your program, remember a servlet is whenever you are writing a servlet, automatically this becomes your servlet by the JVM, and this JSP code is being written over there. Now we have done with this particular called JSP page, just a simple JSP page. In the next class, we will go with more details using the JSP. Especially now we will do your particular called your servlet and the JSP. And also I forgot to mention how to get the parameters, like if I'm setting it in the servlet, that called request dot set attribute. Now how I'm going to get the attributes, or I'm going to get the attributes in my JSP, or here I can set the attributes in this JSP. Then we are going to use the particular JSPs inside your other classes, means inside other servlets. So any questions you have till now? In the next class, we will go with the details in JSP. Any
No,
questions?
sir.
Okay, okay. So bye for today. We will be meeting in the next class. Yeah,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
thank you.